MYOS. It's about 2 minutes before the open. This one is up over 100% on news. It looks like they announced a strategic investment in Ren's Techno with a private placement of up to $34 million. So it looks like it's just a financing deal, but for it to be up, 150% on news, that's a little bit much. So I'm going to be looking for this one to pull back at the open. Okay, so the market's open and it's kind of just hanging around that $4 level, and that's kind of to be expected. Just going to watch this. I'm not going to get too bullish or bearish on this one at the open. I think it's going down, but I just need to wait on it. So that's quite a move in the opening minute. I mean, that's almost a $1 pullback. So I don't think it's supposed to be up there this high. I think it's coming down, but I just need some confirmation before I go in, because there's a lot going on today. So this is not the only runner of the day. And just looking at the level 2, it doesn't, there's not a lot of activity. But it does look like this stock has the most relative volume this morning. And this would be a good one to go short right about the $4 level, because stocks have a trouble breaking through, or like half-dollar, whole dollar amounts. So I mean, it went from like $2 to $4. I mean, the company doubled in value overnight. I don't think that's normal. All right, so I'm getting close here. Yeah, it just dropped big time. So I think I'm gonna wait for it to bounce back up, and then I'm going in on it, because these pullbacks are pretty big. The only thing that kind of scares me a little bit is there's two things. The first thing is the volume. It doesn't have much volume, only 100,000 shares. And also, see this spread? That's scary, because you get in at like 330 and then the thing jumps up to like 370, and I mean, you could take a 40-cent hit in an instant. So I'm going to wait for this one to calm down just a little bit. So looking at the level 2, the bid is 320 and the ask is 360. There's a 40-cent spread here. That's dangerous. So I'm going to stay back from this one, and plus the volume is not all that great right now. So So it came down to $3 and then bounced up to 3.20 in an instant. So this one's still not done moving, and the spread is still 315, 330, and still not a lot of volume on this one. And even though I might not take a trade on this, I still want to run this video just for people who, might not be familiar with judging the spread and judging volume. Because a general rule of thumb is that you should be a volatile stock, in my opinion, is anything that has traded more than 250,000 shares before the open. That lets you know the stock is going to be liquid throughout the day, because if it trades about 250,000 before the open, it should trade about 1 to 3 million throughout the day, which should be enough, liquidity so that you can get in and out of the trade without any issue. Right now, this one's only traded 200,000 shares, and as you can see, there's a lot of wild, swings in price. So this is the bounce, and what I'm hoping here is that it bounces up to maybe back up to the $4 level, and if it can't break back through the $4 level, I'm going short then. Because this doesn't have a lot of volume, the obvious, it doesn't have a lot of eyes on it right now. So I'm going to pause the video, just watch this for another couple more minutes here. And I'm hoping to get in on this one, but the spread has to tighten up a little bit, and the volume has to increase a little bit before I go in. So I switched over to the chart with all the indicators, and what it looks like is this stock is way above where it needs to be. So this one is coming back down, but it's just a matter of when. And I don't want to pull the trigger too fast. It's so tempting because it's coming down. It's up like $1 on news. But unfortunately, it's not done with its initial move. The first 30 minutes of the day are the most volatile and where you're going to see the most priced action. Okay, so now it's starting to go sideways. So now I'm getting a little bit more comfortable going short on this. So just looking at the level 2, and we have some people stacking up at 365 who want to bring this up. And there's more people on the ask than there are the bid, so there's a possibility this one could come back up right here. This could be a bounce. But, for somebody to buy this stock at 370 right now, it'd be kind of stupid, honestly. So I'm going to see if I can get filled right here at this 340 level. Because if it can break back over that 350, that'd be a good stop. So Okay, I've got an order into short at 340, and I'm just going to sit here and wait to see if it gets back up there, because with all these crosses here, that's an indication that people are undecided, and this could be an indication that it's going to start going down. So I've also placed an order to go short at 330, and we'll see if we get filled on that one. And there it goes. The bulls take the stairs, and the bulls jump out the window. So I don't think I'm going to get filled here, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel my orders and just watch the level 2 for just a moment. And just a mental note for myself, the next time I see a stock that's up double in the pre-market, a company that doesn't trade, like for instance on this day they traded 76,000 in volume. This day 179. So this stock isn't in play typically. And when you see something like this double, just go short, take a small position, because if I could have got in about $4, I mean, I'd have been sitting pretty right now. All right, so we got a lot of people stacking up on the ask right now at 325, trying to bring this back up. And I really wish they would get it to about 325, 350. At that point, I would be comfortable going short on this stock. And right now, I have that impulse just to jump in with a market order. But I need to be more cautious and stop jumping into stupid moves. Now, just looking at the chart, it looks like the Bollinger Bands, see how they got real wide whenever this was real volatile, but now they're coming back. So that's kind of an indication that the volatility is over and that this one's going to start going sideways. And on a major announcement, I mean, maybe $1 increase, maybe, but still, that's, for a $2 stock to jump up to even $3, that's still out of the ordinary. So I've got an order in to go short at $3, but just looking at the chart, just a little bit afraid that it's wanting to bounce right now, because we still have about 10 minutes. Okay, so I just got partially filled. And there's not a lot of volume on this, so I tried to get 1,000 shares and was only able to get 200 of those shares filled. Alright, so now I'm up to 300, so just going to sit here for just a moment. Now that it's at that $3 level, that's kind of the make it or break it. And stocks tend to hang around that whole dollar amount for a little bit before they make their next move. So it looks like I am 100% filled now at $3, going short. And I feel that I forced this trade. It does have, some decent relative volume this morning, but it doesn't have a lot of shares traded. But just looking at the rest of my watch list, JRJC, ARRY, those stocks don't have a lot of volume traded today either. So I'm going to pause the video and just watch this one for a little bit. So I've got an order in to cover at 285. And I've got my stop up here at the 322. Again, I felt like I forced this trade. And normally when I feel that I forced a trade, it doesn't really pan out too well. But let's see here, it's now below that. So I've got, still haven't been filled yet. I'm up about $170, but that's unrealized. There we go. And that's the problem with these stocks that are not liquid. It's really hard to get in and out. I mean, it's way past where I want to cover, but yet I've only been able to cover just 100 shares. And this is a stark reminder to myself to stay away from these low volume stocks. So I'm still just waiting to get filled here. And as you can see, the spread is still huge. It's about a 10-cent spread. If I were to place a market order right now, I'm sure I would get filled. But, I mean, who knows where I would get filled at. So I see some really big size at 295. And I still have 900 shares. So that 295 just got bigger. And I don't want to add to this because there's no volume. So quite a few lessons reinforced today. The biggest one is to stay away from these low volume stocks. If a stock hasn't traded 250,000 to 1,000,000 shares before the open, I need to just stay away from it. The reason why I went in on this one is because it was such a huge gap up this morning. From $2 to $4, I knew it had to give some of that back. I just should have been able to jump in on that $4 level. I mean, I could have made a lot of money. So looking at level 2, we still have that guy sitting at 295, and he wants to sell a lot of shares. And because this one has a really big spread, I just brought my stop loss down to 310. Because if it blows through that, then it just might keep going, and I'll just take a market order and just get out. So it looks like there's some size at $3, and that's what's driving this one back up. Yeah, there's quite a bit of size at $3, and they're getting filled there at $3. Oh, okay, now it's blown through. So. And if you're watching this, I mean, the bid and the ask when the spreads like this is dangerous, because so I'm watching the level 2 just to see if People are stacking up on the ask to see if it's going to blow through this 310, and we're getting real close because they're starting to stack up at 309. The only saving grace is that on the bid there's a lot of people trying to get it back down to 280. And I know this video is running a little bit long, about 20 minutes so far, but you know, you have to wait for the right time to enter a trade, and sometimes it doesn't happen right at the open. And another mental note, just because it's the biggest gapper of the morning doesn't mean that I should chase it, because at this point it's traded 500,000 shares and it's 10 o'clock. I mean, to me that's considered very low volume. But the good thing is it's hanging out at this $3 level and it's not really pushing back up over it. So that's an indication to me that $3 is acting as, the $3 level anyway, is acting as resistance, and this one should start coming back down. And again, I mean, real tempted to double my position here short, but there's just no volume for me to get in and out, so I'm not going to do that. All right, so we're above my stop loss, and I'm just going to check the level 2 to see if I see anything out of the ordinary, any big bids or asks. And it looks like they're trying to bring this one down to 305. All right, we got a lot of size stacking up at 325, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel this order, and I'm going to try to get out of this thing right now. And I'm just going to do a market order because this thing's about to go. Okay, so I just did a market order to get out because there are about 200,000 shares sitting at 325 that want to get filled, and it's going back up. So for me, this trade is over. Looks like, man, it's like a pretty big loss on this one, but it's my own fault. Just a stark reminder to stay away from these low volume stocks, especially when the spread is like this. So that's it. I'm done with this one. I don't think I'm going to trade it anymore. For the reason it doesn't have a lot of volume, and the spread is just crazy right now. So for me, this trade is done. Thanks for watching.